Let's go to this. Chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission, Nissen. You might have seen yesterday imploring President Cyril Ramaphosa to take decisive action to advance human rights in the country. Giving his message of support at the official commemoration of Sharpville Day, Nissen highlighted that there were still barriers preventing many South Africans from accessing their rights. The event was held in Sharpville under the theme 3 decades of respect for and promotion of human rights. And Nissen joins us now. Chris, good morning. Thank you for your time. What caught my attention yesterday in what you were saying was the arrest of a municipal manager, I believe it is in the Northwest, over non-delivery. Now, given the ratepayers' revolts around the country and the failures of delivery, citizens are getting desperate for accountability. How does something like this offer them power in doing exactly that? And you can share the story of this particular arrest as well.
Good morning to all the viewers and the listeners. My apologies that I cannot, go through the visual. There's some technical difficulties, but thank you so much for inviting the South African Human Rights Commission to share with you. Yes, indeed. As you were correctly stated, not only ratepayers, but also ordinary citizens that are there in the different informal settlements and in the townships where they also pay municipal levies and pay their dues to the municipality, are ever increasingly feel frustrated that services are not delivered. So what happened in this province is that, and we hope to use this as an example for those municipalities and municipal and accounting officers, let me put the word accounting officers, that do not adhere to the instruction or the recommendations of the Human Rights Commission, because those recommendations come because of people complaining and because of their own plight, and we are taking that forward to them. It is just because they're not adhering to those recommendations and the ability not to respond to the Human Rights Commission. Hence, we have taken this step to say, in terms of our act, that we will failure to appear before the Commission in terms of our hearings constitute a criminal offense. Hence, I have signed off that this person should be criminally charged for not adhering to the instructions of the Human Rights Commission per our Act.
So that's very interesting, Chris, and I think what's useful again for our viewers is just what were the attributes of failure in terms of the performance of the relevant official, and what recommendations had you made that they'd not activated?
The accounting officers, or in this case, the accounting officer were called to our offices. They sat down with our provincial manager and made certain undertakings. After that, our municipal manager, on countless occasions and many efforts, tried to get hold of this accounting officer, as I was told. And this accounting officer just completely ignored, despite the undertakings that this accounting officer made with the Human Rights Commission's representative, which is the provincial manager in that case. And just ignored. And this is in many cases where accounting officers just ignored. And hence my plea yesterday that Chapter 9 institutions should be protected and should be given the space of where the Constitution should be acknowledged and adhered to, because we're a Chapter 9 institution. We get our mandate from Chapter 2 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. So, like when we make a recommendation, that at least that accounting officers that take a pledge of office, and all of those, whether it's the accounting officer, whether it's the MEC, minister, and so on, take a pledge to say they will uphold the Constitution of this country. And in this case, despite numerous attempts by our provincial manager to get hold of this accounting officer, failed. And that's why we took the action that we did.
All right, so as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking for those citizens who are tearing their hair out, we look at places like Verulam, 200 days without water. Will be live to our reporter, Karinda Jagmahan, and the team in a moment. These community members live actually across the street from a reservoir, but there's no water coming out of their taps. We see not only in KwaZulu-Natal, even here in the city of Johannesburg, threats of a rates revolt, especially in the context of some of the tariffs going up over non-delivery. Chris, what example does this set, or what avenue for recourse does this give citizens? Should they be coming to the Human Rights Commission and saying, we have a problem with service delivery, these are the executives that are in charge of making it happen, can you get involved and do something?
Absolutely. I think that is what we're doing as the Human Rights Commission. Let me also say that, yesterday I also announced that the Human Rights Commission is also going to look at the pro-poor budget of municipalities. So we can do away, or at least start unpacking this inequality between the affluent and poor societies. But for every citizen that lives in a city or where they are parade payers or pay their municipal dues, they have the right that accounting officers must do right to them and listen to them. In the case of Verlem in Tongati, we've got a commissioner there that's working around the clock, Commissioner Ntuli, around the clock to ensure that we get accountability of municipal officers there. But what this does, if we are successful in it, is to tell accounting officers wherever they are that if you do not listen to the plight of the people as carried by the Human Rights Commission to you, you will have to bear the consequences. The days are past when people are treated like nothing. You pay your dues, everything, and when you call, even the call doesn't get answered. We need to get better services for our people. We abandoned Batupele, and now you get a service. People stand in long queues, whether it's Home Affairs, day hospital, clinics, or wherever. SASA, wherever. No, we need to say we can't have a public representatives and public accounting officers that think that they can ignore but cannot tell people.
Chris Nissen, thank you very much for sharing that, and I'm sure for a lot of people who are looking for more recourse and ways to empower themselves to do something, what you've just said is encouraging. So there you have it, Chris Nissen, Chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission.